do you think? Stay. Good girl. Polly, look at that. She's gone. It was nearly really good. Hi, everyone. My special guest, Polly, got a little bit camera shy. So hopefully my other special guest will log in very soon and say hi. So Barney, if you're out there, feel free to, if you're set up to type and send me messages, then go for it. Because welcome everyone to 6 o'clock Drinks with Kate. Hi Kenneth. Hello Barnaby Flanders. Welcome. I'm so glad to see you're still here already. Katie and John, nice to see you. I'm very excited. Michael Sedgley, hello. Kay, hi. Oh, shush, Polly, you can't bark off scene. Hello, everyone. Tonight, I'm very excited to introduce my real special. Oh, Erin, hi, how are you? My very special guest, Barnaby Flanders, who is in the chat room. Unfortunately, we were really hoping that we would be able to have Barney sitting here a metre away from me with the computer a bit further back, and we could have a chat in the same room. But unfortunately, lockdown is still on here in metropolitan Melbourne, which includes Moorooduc. So we're just going to have to do this remotely again. Hi, Rob and Deb. How are you? Hello, Renee and Matt. Lovely to see you. Craig, g'day. Isaac, Jack and Hannah, good to see you. And hi, Samantha. Paul, hi. So hopefully you've all worked out what wine we're drinking tonight. We did have a little bit of confusion, and I have to apologise because again, I did one of my little 3-packs that didn't actually follow on logically till we get to the next 6-pack. So I apologise to those of you who found yourself without Gewurztraminer today or yesterday. I know we managed to sort it out for at least a couple of you, and if there are others of you who are sitting there with no Gewurztraminer, I'm very sorry, and I'm sure that Barney and I can get some to you afterwards. Polly, shush. She knows I've got cashew nuts. Oh, Shell, Andrew, French onion frittata with Gruyere, how delicious. And Daryl and Sue, hi. Yes, Polly's here. Frodo's here on the other side as well. So, Barney, very welcome to have you here. And Jeff, this is Barney's wine. It's called Cotier Gewurztraminer 2019. Now, I don't know how many of you have already opened it and had a taste, but it's a little bit surprising, this wine. And one of the reasons that I chose this wine is because I love all of Barney's wines. I think he's an excellent winemaker. He makes delicious wine. This is something that really intrigued me because Gewurztraminer is a grape variety that I really love. Hello, Michael. I'm so glad that we managed to get that for you. Actually, Jeff had quite a lot to do with getting that to you, Michael. So anyway, I have my little delivery fairies who do a great job. So Cotier Gewurztraminer, beautiful label, very classic but modern, great colour. And Gewurztraminer, I was saying, is a grape variety that I really like. It's a grape variety that some people struggle with. It's sort of the opposite of a lot of the very popular grape varieties and wine styles, and it's quite hard to make good Gewurztraminer. A lot of people get a bit scared by it. They don't get it ripe enough. They don't get the aromatics. They're worried because it's a lower acid variety when it's fully ripe. Sometimes people make it with residual sugar, some people don't. So this is a very contentious grape variety, and this is quite it is, Craig, very left field, this one. Hello, Kate. Lovely to see you. Have I already said hello to Kevin? Hello again, Kevin. Anyway, so I'm going to get this open. This is the 2019 version of the Cotier Gewurz. And the other thing that I'm going to tell you is that this is another skinsy white wine. So it's known more broadly in the wine industry as an orange wine. I don't really like that term because I think it kind of conjures up some of the wrong ideas for me, but I don't know what you think, Barney. Do you like your wine being called an orange wine? It does have a little bit of a golden twinge. Twinge? Look at that colour. Jeff's mum is a superhero. She certainly is. So, wine. in glass. I really like to drink this wine in a Pinot glass. As you can see, there's a lot of colour, and already I haven't even put my nose in it, and there's a lot of aromatics. And one of the reasons that, you know, I talked quite a lot about what might be good things to match with this. And also for the first time, I think I said what I thought you should try to avoid trying to match with this wine, because I think a lot of people, I agree, Barney, textural white wine I like a lot. Skinsy, because the skins have been involved, that's kind of my thing. I like that too. So right pear on the nose shell. So let's talk about Gewurztraminer, because even when it's not made in this slightly more edgy, controversial way, it still can be quite an edgy, controversial wine. Classically, Gewurztraminer is described as smelling of rose petals or Turkish delight. Polly, shush. Go talk to Richard. Barky dog. Very ripe pears, but also for me, it's going into the tropical fruit characters, kind of locusts and a little bit of dried mango. And yeah, it is a little bit, Katie, I wanted to make sure that people didn't just kind of go, oh, da, 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 la, 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 taste, because it is a slightly, it's a wine that freaks people out a little bit, but it's okay. We're holding hands. We're doing this together, and it is lovely. It's a really gorgeous wine, and that's why I chose it for you tonight. It's also very different from anything that we make here at Moorooduc Estate. So some ripe pears, absolutely. There's an Asian fruit called, I think they call it dragon's eye, or someone will be able to tell me, one of you brainy people out there. Richard, would you be able to occupy Polly with some cashew nuts or something, please? Oh. I can't be dealing with the children at the moment. Dragon fruit, thank you, Kay. Yeah, and it smells a little bit like, it smells like this wine, I reckon. Oh, everyone knows except for me about dragon fruit. Excellent. So yeah, you get that kind of aromatic coming through on this wine. It's quite tropical. There's a bit of that Turkish delight, rose water character. People also talk about lychees, which is closer to the dragon fruit. I think dragon fruit and lychees are probably quite closely related. Yes, Barney. Elderflower. And so when you smell it, it smells like it's going to be sweet almost, which is a little bit shocking when you put it in your mouth, because it's not sweet. It's got richness and it's got flavour, but it's quite a dry wine. So let's have a little taste. So the lychee flavour comes through on the palate, and you get this really kind of savoury texture, like chewing on pear skins. So that brings us back to the ripe pears again. It's got that kind of, the pear skin thing is really important, I think, or even kind of, you know, when you peel a mango and you kind of chew the bit of fruit off the skin. I don't know if other people do that, but mangoes are so delicious, you don't want to waste any of them. And that bit of bitterness and mouthfeel texture that you get from the skin, that's the tannins that you get in this wine from extended time on skins. It is a fabulous food wine, and it was really funny when I was talking to Barney about it, because I said, "Oh, what do you like to match to this wine?" And he just kind of drew a blank, and he's like, "I don't know, I just make it, drink it, you know, whatever." Hey, Barney. But I think this wine, and I love this wine on a summer's afternoon on the deck, just to sit and spend some time getting to know it, because that's the other thing. Don't drink it too fast tonight. It changes in the glass all the time. Jeremy, that's nice. Smells like so many different things, a bit like the maker. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to say there, Barney. Craig, yeah, I think a bit of Thai chicken curry works well, that bit of spice and the chicken. And Michael, it's really oily textural, and that's partly because of the lower acid, but also because of the what's the word? Phenolics. just had to wait for my brain to catch up to my words. It's the phenolics that you get from the skin and also from the pulp of the Gewurztraminer grape that gives you that unctuous textural quality, which is really wonderful. And yeah, David, I do think that the nose is a bit scary, that it might be a bit overpowering, or it might be a bit sweet, or it might be a bit too strong on the palate, but it's not. It just kind of, it goes into all these lovely sort of savory textural things, but the flavors are subtle but gorgeous. Chicken and leek pie would be beautiful. Barney, Katie wants to know where the grapes come from. I believe they're Mornington Peninsula, but that's as far as I can get. Barney has a wine business where he makes wine from Mornington Peninsula fruit, some vineyards that you lease and work with, other fruit that he buys from other growers, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Barney, and I'll give you some time to type an answer. The grapes are grown at the winery on Foxy's Road. Oh, cool, excellent. So that's where the winery is, and so very local. And I think Gewurztraminer is a grape variety that a lot of people thought was not really going to work down here, and I've had some beautiful Gewurzes, one or two from the 80s that were made by Nat White at Mainridge Estate, but he founded his site, and Mainridge Estate is a lot further south than here. It's a lot cooler, and in the 80s it was a bit cooler than it is now, and he was struggling to get the fruit to set. So he would get fruit to set maybe every 2 or 3 years. It wasn't really economically viable to grow grapevines that only gave you fruit every 3 years, even though the quality of that fruit was really, really special when he got it. So I think that site that Barney has a little bit further to the north, a little bit warmer, also as the climate warms up a little bit, it's becoming a better place for Gewurztraminer. Kieran, welcome back. We haven't seen you for a little while. How is sunny Bahrain? Sunny? Roast chicken and chips, Kate. I think that's really good. It's quite tempting to just go the chicken and chips. Really beautiful. Jeremy, Jill's carrot fritters in the fryer would be fabulous. We also, I know Reggie's showing off, Polly's showing off. All the animals are feeling a little bit of spring in their step. And you can see that it's still light outside. Isn't that wonderful? We'll be able to watch the sunsets together soon in a little while. Okay, so it still sets poorly for you, Barney. That's interesting. Oh, Jeff, you've gone back for the Saganaki. That's not a bad call, I reckon, with this bit of saltiness, bit of cheesiness. So, Jeremy, I sort of suggested soft cheeses, washed rind cheeses. Oh, yeah. Kevin, I delivered wine to the Russos and noticed that they're just right next door to you, Barney. So you've got some lovely neighbours. So, yeah, you guys will have to become best as friends. Barney also makes really good Pinot Noir, really good Chardonnay, pretty good Pinot Gris. Barney actually gave me some really good advice when we started talking about making our Pinot Gris on skins, and he was a really big inspiration for me when we started playing around with that style. And I think Barney does a Pinot Gris on skins, Gewurztraminer, and a Riesling as well that's had some skin contact. So really interesting textural, food-friendly, savoury wines with lots of aromatic like this, which is really cool. Barney also makes gin, so he's a good person to be friends with if you like those kind of things. And he makes a very, very good gin, Balcombe gin, which we might have to have a gin and tonic one week just when the weather warms up and we need a break from wine one Thursday. Jeff does love his Saganaki, Kieran. It's true. It's very true. Again, Shell, I just gave my cashews away to Polly to stop her from barking, but I imagine that it would go very well with cashews and a sharp cheddar. Also, washed rind cheeses. Also, all of those things that I talked about with Pinot Gris, eggy, cheesy, smoked, bacony, porky kind of aromas and flavours, I think would be really, really good. Emily, yes, we will do G&T soon, and I will, you need to check out the Balcombe gin, which is Barney's gin, because it's very lovely. It's made with aromats from the local area, but that's for another day. I've got everyone on gin now. This wine, as I said to you before, it's because of the way it's made, it changes a lot in the glass. And depending on what you match it to food-wise, it does really interesting things. You started with the Pisco Sour, David. How lovely. How delightful. That takes me back. Oh, well. I'm back now. The things this wine doesn't go well with, I believe. Thank you, Richard. Richard's brought me some cashews. I might eat one. Polly's back. She's going to bark at me. Oh, hi, Tara. Lovely to see you. Talking and eating. You got a glass of Gewurz with you, Tara? Look at that colour. It's just awesome. I'm going to just look at it and swirl it and sniff it all night. It's getting more grapey. It's getting more musky now with air. Michael, I don't think there is any new oak in this wine. I don't see any. I think that maybe if you're seeing characters that you associate with oak, might be the tannins from the skins, because that brings that tannin texture, but also brings in those savoury notes that are a little bit spicy, a little bit cedary, but that'll be from the actual skins of the grapes rather than new oak. Barney, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure how the wine was made. I'm hoping that Barney will be able to give us a couple of quick notes. All old neutral oak age. Thank you very much. I like your succinctness there. Thank you. So yeah, that Michael, that's not oak that you're seeing there. It's the skins. I also thought I might just give a little shout out to Mark, if you're there, from Cavist in England. I think Mark was going to listen in. You may have noticed we're not drinking a Moorooduc Estate wine tonight, but we usually do. This is our first guest wine, and it's a doozy. It's a pretty special one to bring in. Mark, if you're interested in trying it, let me know. We'll stick one in a box of Moorooduc next time we send some over to you, if Barney lets me. Don't drink this wine with fish. I don't think this is going to work well with fishy flavours at all, because it doesn't have enough natural acidity. It doesn't have enough tang. It's too round and rich and soft and perfumed to work well with fish. I think they would fight a lot. Yeah, David, I think a banquet would be a really good way to find the best match. If you were going to go for something seafoody, maybe something with a bit of a curry base or a bit of spice or something like that, I think Gruyere, fantastic match. Cheese is a great match to this kind of wine, and I think it's so much better than matching most red wines to cheese. A white wine like this that's got a bit of tannin and a bit of texture from the skins works really well with the flavours of cheese, of a lot of different cheeses. I even suggested you could try a sort of soft, creamy blue with this. I don't think they would fight too hard with each other. I think they might work quite nicely. So really versatile, but avoid fishy characters. I think with this wine you want to avoid red meat. I don't think it's going to be a great match to a steak or a beef casserole, but it could work really well with pork if it's cooked in the right way. If you have pork in like a masala kind of a sauce, or with some prunes and that kind of thing. Oh, thanks, Barney. Whole bunch fermented, 100% carbonic, no crushing to it. Well, that's very technical. Kate, you can buy Barnaby's wine by getting in contact with me, and I know where to get it from, or you can jump on his website, which is garagiste.com.au. Right, Barney? Is that the best way for them to get in contact with you and get your wine? It is sold through a few retail outlets, but he is quite a small select producer. You won't find it at Dan Murphy's, but I can hook you up with the winemaker if you'd like to buy some. So it's a little bit more complicated than just jumping on our website and clicking a button, but we can sort you out. So what we might do is I'll have a talk to Barney and we'll put together a little offer. Oh, there you go, barnaby@garagiste.com.au. Send him an email. We might even put a little offer out for a short time through the Moorooduc website next week. North Fitzroy is a good source. North Fitzroy wine shop, a lovely little little wine shop. Jeff, I think there is some vintage variation. I'll save you a bit of the 19. I think this is a little bit more, this has got a bit more lychee and less rose petal, whereas I think the 18 was a little bit, for me, was a little bit more rose petal and less of those sort of exotic tropical fruit. Mangostein's another one that this reminds me of, the nose. It's got that sort of juicy lychee mangosteen, sweet kind of perfume to it, and that savoury texture to bring it out. Yeah, I think, and I do think there's a bit more grapefruit in the 18. I don't get as much citrus in this one. I don't know what other people think. What a nice wine to. It's right, Kay. It changes and changes in the glass. And Jeremy said to me before he left today, he said, make sure you tell people that if they can bear to not drink it all tonight, if you keep some for tomorrow and taste it again tomorrow, it will be even more different and it will have evolved. And because of the way the wine's made, it's almost, as a young wine, it's almost better when it's been open for a day. I don't know what you think about that, Barney, but I think that with that extra air, it just evolves and changes and does really interesting things. Yeah, you got to check out his Pinot Noir. We might invite him back. He's done quite well, hasn't he? Now, what's the name of the wine shop that we Brunswick East Wine Store is the one that we got our spare bottle for Michael from. So Brunswick East Wine Store. I'm not sure, Barney, if Black Hawks and Sparrows has your wine, but it will look great the longer it's open. Absolutely. It's a very different style of wine from your modern, fresh, cleanly made Australian white wines. It's drawing on a lot of tradition from Central European ancient winemaking techniques, that sort of spending that extra time on skins. The next step might be to go into amphora, but I don't know if don't know, Barney, if that's something that a road that you're going down. But a lot of people who like to make skinsy wines also like to play around with different fermenting vessels. I think Old Oak does a really good job of maturation for a wine like this. Cutty, I've got no idea how this wine's going to sell. I've been buying it from Barney for the last 3 years and I keep drinking it. So I've got some that I've hidden from myself. I will have a look at it. But Gewurztraminer as a grape variety is quite tricky. It's not supposed to age well, but it often ages better than people say it will if it's made from high quality grapes. And if it's made by a quality producer, which we tick both those boxes here with Barney and his wine. So I don't know, Barney, how long have you been making this? Is this the third vintage, or have you made it for longer than that? I'm just checking. Okay, we could have done a Zoom instead of YouTube, but then that would be going, that'd be going outside of the our little spectrum. But I will get Barney back when we're allowed to sit in the same room together. I'm sure that can't be too far off now. I'll get Barney back with some Pinot Noir for 2016 was the first vintage for the Gewurztraminer. Okay. Have you got any of that 16 left, Barney, or have you sold it all? I think this is one of the issues with being a young business and a young winemaker. Do you like being called a young winemaker, Barney? Very young. Is that you kind of need to sell everything to turn over so that you can afford to make the next year's wine. So hard to hold back older vintages, but I think, Nina, hi, good to see you. I think this would be fabulous. I think I said in my food recommendations on Tuesday, if you got a chicken and smothered it in some harissa and then roasted it, I think that would be delicious. I think it would work really well with a good spaghetti carbonara with really smoky bacon and some nice nice cheese and eggy flavours and just get that all together. I think that would be great. In fact, I've actually done that with a previous vintage of this wine, and it's been terrific. 2012 first. Have you been making wine since under your own label since 2012, Barney? That's amazing. So yeah, I think this wine really it's one of those wines as well that, oh, Kieran, I know, sorry. At least you've got cheese still. Garagiste, I thought you'd been doing it for a bit longer. So Barney has a few different labels. The Garagiste is his main label. Garagiste is a name. It's a French word, but it's also a name for a winemaker that doesn't necessarily have his own or her own vineyards or big winery, fancy stuff. They make small batch wine in their garage, hence Garagiste. And so the Garagiste wines are fabulous, and I think we should do a Garagiste Pinot Noir in a few weeks' time, Barney. What do you reckon? Barney also makes a few different Chardonnays, and he plays around with different fermenting. I'll read that out for him in a minute, Barney. He's sitting listening at the other table. Barney said he learnt from the best, you, Richard. That's very sweet. But Barney's also played around with concrete fermenters and various things. So his wines are very terroir based and very Mornington Peninsula based and really lovely. The Cotier is I don't want to say second label. It's a different label where you do a bit more sort of experimental stuff, yeah. And I think you've got another label which is Stagiaire. Do my research. Anyway, it's a lovely set of wines in general. Very focused on beautiful grapes from the Mornington Peninsula, made with a light touch and sensitive winemaking, and I think always make me very happy. Yeah, the Gewurz, fantastic with Asian chicken, and Nina, I met, yeah. So Gewurztraminer, a lot of experimental for Cotier and Le Stagiaire. Yes, Jeff, I can. Thank you for reminding me. I remembered it before and then got distracted. Just give me a moment, because I was going to say something about Gewurz. Gewurztraminer, a lot of people really struggle with how to match Gewurztraminer to food, because it smells sweet, and usually if it's made as a table wine is not sweet on the palate. And a lot of people used to tell me match it to Asian food, Asian flavours. Whenever I go anywhere in Asia, go to Hong Kong or Singapore or Japan, and I say, oh, do you drink a lot of Gewurztraminer with your cuisine? And they laugh and they go, oh, Gewurztraminer is awful with Asian food. And what do you mean by Asian food anyway? Because there are so many different types. So I think Gewurztraminer does go well with some spice, but I think more sort of Moroccan flavours, spice-wise, or those lovely Germanic, Alsatian, cheesy, porky, eggy flavours. Maybe some noodles in there, maybe some potatoes with cheese, and a bit of pickle on the side works quite well. A little bit of dill pickle works well with this wine as a side, because I think Gewurztraminer often has a little bit of a dill herbal note to it. I don't see it as much in this wine because it's quite ripe and quite rich, but often you'll get a bit of that dill herbal note there. Jeff, the mouth swish, Margaret. The reason I swish wine around in my mouth is the same reason that I swish it around in the glass. It's to get the air through it, and it's about sucking air through the wine to get the air that's come through the wine into your retronasal cavity, which is all this bit in the back of your nose and in the back of your mouth. And you're smelling the wine from the back of your mouth and the back of your nose at the same time as you're tasting it with your tongue. So your tongue can only really differentiate between a few different quite obvious flavours: sugar, bitter, acid. What are the other ones? Sugar, bitter, acid. Umami's the fifth one. Salt. Yeah. So all the other flavors that you're getting when you put it in your mouth, if you get the flavor of lychees, it's actually the aroma of lychees, but you're smelling it from inside your mouth. So when you put it in your mouth and you swish it around and that's one of the advanced wine tasting techniques. You don't want to do it until you know what you're doing, because you can choke on the wine, or the wine can fall out of the front of your mouth. But what you want to do is slurp air through the wine. I'll show you how I do it. You can practice it in the shower with water until you get really good at it, and then you look like a professional wine taster. So you put it in your mouth, and then at the same time as putting your mouth forward to bring the wine to the front of your mouth, you open your mouth a little bit and suck air through it. Let's see if I can demonstrate. It creates a little kind of whirlpool in the wine in your mouth, and all the aromas of the wine come backwards, back through your palate into the back of your nose, and you can smell them at the same time as tasting them. So that's why we do the swishy chewing thing. It's to get air in and to be smelling as well as tasting. I hope that makes sense, Margaret. You don't have to do it, but it's about getting the most out of every sip of wine. And for me, I love sitting down to have a glass of wine. If it still works tasting by smell, you're COVID free. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things that I've been actually thinking that if I did get COVID and I did get that side effect, because not everyone gets all the same side effects, if I lost my sense of smell, I would notice really quickly, because it's a very, very important thing to me, not just with wine tasting. I've always been someone who is really interested in what things smell like: flowers, walking through the park and smelling the freshly mown grass, even some slightly earthier smells, perfume, wine, food cooking. Smell is really important to me. So I think I would notice really quickly if I lost my sense of smell. And I reckon that'd be the first thing that'd chase me off to get tested for COVID, because I'd be quite distressed if that happened. I do have a story for you, and it'll be a very short one, but I've got a little salutary tale for you. One of my father's friends, when they were at university, he's got an Italian background, and he loves food and loves wine. And when they were at university, his mother used to make him pickled chilies, and he'd bring them out, when they had a few girls over to their room, and he'd say, "Oh, look at these, they're delicious. Here, I'll eat one." And then he'd give it to the poor unsuspecting girl to have a chili, and they were incredibly spicy. But he could handle the incredible spices, and so he tricked a lot of people into a lot of pain from eating these pickled chilies. Fast forward to many years later, and Mick's lost his sense of smell, and so his sense of taste. Now, it could have been due to a virus or something like that. There are lots of things that make you lose your sense of smell and taste, but we like to believe in this family that it's retribution for him torturing people with these chilies very early on in his university career, that he's now lost his sense of smell and taste. That said, he still enjoys drinking wine. He just says to me that he looks for the textures now rather than the smells and tastes. I would be really sad if that happened to me, but you can always find something good in a glass of wine, even if you can't smell it or taste it as well as you'd like to. Texture's important, weight's important. That little buzz of alcohol is quite nice, but that's probably the least important thing to me. It gives it the balance, gives it all of those things. But, here's cheers to a wine that has lots of smells, lots of flavours, and lots of texture. I wish I could speak properly tonight. I think that we might leave it at that. Thank you, Barney. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us, Barnaby Flanders, on our text. And thank you for making this beautiful, beautiful wine. It's absolutely delicious. We are starting our new tasting box next week. So if you haven't got your new tasting box yet, then get it ordered, and Jeff and I will get it to you in the next week. I can't remember what's first in the box, Jeff. Can you tell me? I'll send out an email on Monday to tell you. I think Oh, jeepers. Sorry, guys. That's terrible, isn't it, Polly? I haven't done my homework. Anyway, I'll send you an email on Monday and tell you what we're tasting and tell you what you should match to it. So I think that'll be really fun. Thanks, everyone. Lovely to see you again. Cheers. Stay safe and keep drinking appropriate amounts of delicious wine. Oh, Melissa. Oh, well, I'm glad you got it, and lovely to see you all. Thank you. And it's one of those nice things about lockdown is that you can do a tasting in your pajamas, which is really good fun. So cheers, everyone. And again, thank you, Jeff's mum, Margaret. Thank you so much for being our little delivery fairy tonight. That was wonderful. So I owe you. Cheers, everyone. Oh, Garden Vineyard Pinot, is it, Jeff? Garden Vineyard Pinot next week. I'll send you an email. I'll see you all next week. Take care. Be good.